All right, it's recording. Hi guys. So we should introduce ourselves. For those of you that have been joining every week, you're probably used to seeing two different people here on the other side of the screen. And so just in case you don't know us, we're gonna tell you who we are and just a little bit about what we do here. And then we're gonna kind of jump into some fun topics that involve the season and more wine coming to the tasting room and really cool stuff that you guys are going to try. So we'll go from there. Yep. So do you want to start? Or?
Sure.
Awesome.
I am Christina Calloway. A lot of you guys know me because I was a tasting room manager for a couple of years. I switched over back in July, August to a marketing position. So I'm the marketing director now. So I'm not on the floor as much, although some second Saturdays I still see you guys. So any of the emails coming through, social media, and any marketing that we do, that's all me
and my team. All weekend, you're going to see both of us in the tasting room. So if you're visiting,
yeah, we'll be here. It'll be a crazy weekend.
For sure. So I'm Melissa Schulte. I am the general manager at Black Ankle. I've worked for Black Ankle for over a decade now, which is shocking every time I think about how long I've worked here. But it's really cool to, and a lot of the folks that are on this call that I see have been members since like kind of when I started. You guys remember when I was pregnant with my 9-year-old. And so it's been really cool to kind of see the way things have grown and developed here. We have some vines behind us. This is Cabernet Sauvignon. So if you're wondering, if you were to visit the tasting room and you were to be sitting on the courtyard and you were to look out towards the vineyard, you would see Cabernet Sauvignon, which is the stuff right behind us. General manager, I clean a lot of toilets. I help with a lot of different things. They let me participate in blending every year. And my role's just been kind of growing throughout. So anyway, that's me. We're also both a little bit nervous because it's our first time doing this. So questions are awesome. Hopefully we know the answers to them. I think we will. We'll try anyway. And then I guess we can kind of get started. So originally, this happy hour was going to be about kind of digging super deep into the difference between old world wines and new world wines. And we were planning for that happy hour. But some of you may have been following the saga of us trying to get a bottling line and purchase a bottling line. And we ended up last minute hiring a bottling truck, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But because we were able to get a date a little bit last minute, Ed and Sarah are bottling wine. So they are busy right now down at the winery, and we're going to show you a video a little bit later of the bottling line, and Christina's going to walk us through how it all works. But they're down there making sure that we have something to sell this year. So it's pretty exciting for us. It's hard when you're in a state winery. You're a farm, so you're completely dependent on what's growing. And so if you have a good year, you have a little bit more crop. So we're happy to get some stuff in the bottle and to be able to kind of sell some stuff. So we switched topics a little bit, I think, because we have some stuff in the bottle. And so Christina and I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that we're going to be bottling and maybe taste a couple things that will be released very soon, and kind of go from there. Is anyone like wave if anyone plans on visiting for second Saturday? We have a couple people waving. Yep. I hope that we see Joyce and Rob. Yep. So if you stop by this weekend, or if you secretly email me or Zoe or Christina or Karen, we will be able to get you a bottle of something that isn't labeled yet because we just bottled it. And it's pink. I don't know if you can tell. Those of you that have been following on Facebook, we have put 2 things in the bottle so far. So these were bottled by hand. By our vineyard crew, and that we started bottling them before we realized that we were going to have a bottling line to bottle the rest of our stuff. So this is our unlabeled. It will have a label once we start selling it, unless you stop by this weekend. But this is our 2020 rosé. And so we're going to try it tonight, and we're going to kind of tell you, of course, it was just bottled like 8 days ago. So we're going to try to tell you how it's tasting right now. And if you stop by this weekend, I have a feeling you'll probably get a splash in your glass. So one first thing about this, I don't know if any of you guys notice.
What can you see?
Screw cap. You do not need a wine key to open this. So we decided with the Passagette and with the rosé this year only to try out screw caps. We've never done it before. Those of you that have been members for a while have seen all of our wine closure experiments throughout. So this guy's in a screw cap. So I thought that we could open it, and because we're nervous, maybe we'll have a little bit of rosé
I think we should have a little bit of rosé.
And try it. So do you want to pour it?
Okay.
So while she's pouring, I love corks, and Ed and Sarah and I and the whole team really have been talking a lot about the difference between screw caps and corks. And one of the reasons that we decided to switch and just try this out this year for just these wines is they're really meant to be consumed pretty quickly. So we're not really worried about ageability. You're not going to be aging them for very long periods of time in your library, your cellar. Chances are you're going to drink them within the next year to 2 years, maybe 3 years. So we thought that it'd be fun to try them out. I think that we're planning, and I'm 100% sure that we're planning on keeping the corks for all of our premium reds and all of that good stuff, but stuff that you want to drink sooner rather than later. We're going to try screw caps. All the whites are corks this year though, too. So we're going to smell it. I hope all of you have wine in front of you. I can't see if you're hold up some wine if you have some. Oh, great. I see some.
Share in the chat what you're drinking.
Yeah, please do. So somebody asked what the blend of this rosé is. So while Christina's coming up with really brilliant tasting rooms, and she's the director of marketing, or tasting notes director of marketing, I'll tell you the blend. So this guy is a blend of 4 varieties. It is made using bleed. So it is like Saignée or bleed. It's about 63 Merlot, 27% Syrah, 6% Petit Verdot, and 4% Malbec. So it's a pretty interesting blend. Our rosés, for the most part, we haven't had a rosé in 2 years.
2 years. 2 years sounds right.
It's been 2 years, I think, since we've released a rosé. And they've always almost been a mix of Syrah or Merlot. And so those have been the wines that have made rosés, at least traditionally at Black Ankle. I know I love a good Rhone style Syrah rosé. So what do you think?
It's delicious. It's like perfectly citrusy, bright. I get a little hint of strawberry.
Sure. Smells great. And we're like, so when we're blending wines, and I know Ed and Sarah have mentioned this before in previous happy hours, but we're not looking for like different flavors and different things that you find on your palate. You're looking for palate weight. You're looking for evenness, sprouts. Does it have beautiful notes?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what you're looking for. So then when we have to sit down and write tasting notes, we're like, we usually have to call Karen Cool, our resident tasting note expert, who may or may not be on the Zoom, who has worked for Black Ankle for probably almost a decade as well, who currently lives in Arizona. But she usually writes a lot of our tasting notes.
All of the ones you see on our website and in the Boots boxes, a lot of those notes are coming from Karen. It's really nice, though. It's very easy. It's light, but yeah.
If you can understand what that means. It's got really pretty acidity. For those of you that are fans of our Bedlam Rosé, we did not make a Bedlam Rosé this year. This rosé is made using kind of the bleed method, where you're fermenting a little bit on the skins for just a very short period of time, and then you bleed some of that juice right out of the tank, and it creates a lighter color wine. And then you ferment it the rest of the way in the tank without skin contact, and that makes the lighter style wine. Our Bedlam Rosés are wines that are actually white wine. That is a portion of our Bedlam, where we've added red wine to it to make it a pink color. And so those are the differences between our two rosé styles. So this guy is definitely tastes a lot like a Saignée method, which I think is lovely. If you stop out this weekend, ask to try it. It will not have a label on it this weekend, so we can't actually like legally ship it right now. But if you stopped by, even if you don't have a reservation, if you just want to stop by and ask for some rosé, we'll be selling it this weekend. And then Christina, I think, is working on a marketing email next week that will go just to members, because we only made about 434.9 cases of this wine have been produced. And so because we only made a little bit of it, it'll go to members for the most part. I think we've got some questions here.
And if you guys are ever tasting new wine or old wine of our wine at home, feel free to write tasting notes yourself and send it to us. We have a section on our website where we put all of our wine club members tasting notes, and we'll use it in marketing too. So please send them our way.
There is apparently a fancy name for screw cap. And I think Steve Tucker said it's called the Stelvin closure, which I'm not sure, but I'll go with that. Yeah, for sure. Stelvin closure. It sounds good. But we'll also look it up too. If it's something different, of course, we'll share it. But I love that. I hope that you guys like it with the screw cap. It does make it a little bit easier. And I think because it's a fresh wine, you'll drink it pretty quickly. I think you won't notice too much of a difference, for sure. Let's see, what else do we need to cover about this rosé? If you'd like some, email us and we'll find a way to get it to you.
Me, Melissa, or Zoe. It's all our first names at blackankle.com. Super easy. And this is Cheryl. By the way, guys, Cheryl. She is our interpreter for the evening. I think we forgot to say it earlier.
Yep, American Sign Language interpreter. Yep, and normally it's Nicole. And so Cheryl's filling in today. So everyone say hi to Cheryl. So we wanted to talk a little bit about bottling. If that works for you guys, because that's what Ed and Sarah are doing right now. For the past few days, Sarah has actually since last Saturday night, Sarah has been sleeping at the vineyard, and she's been filtering wine. So once we realized that we had to get this wine in the bottle and it was going to start today, which is the mobile bottling line, which Christina's made a video, and we'll talk about it later, that we're using. Once she realized it was coming, hopefully around noon on Thursday, she realized that we had to get all the blends together and then we had to get them filtered. So with a red wine, everything is aged, at least at Black Ankle, everything is barrel aged separately. So you've got all your Merlots in separate barrels, all your Bordeaux blends, your Syrah, Pinot, everything's separate. And then when you go to create the blends, quite a few days before, maybe like a week before bottling, you need to put all those wines together in tank and have them so that they're well blended, and then you run them through a filter. And so before the mobile bottling truck shows up, the wines themselves have to be filtered. Sarah's been playing like 24-hour shifts. So we have wine that we are trying to get bottled within a day and a half. And I'll kind of go over the list of the really fun stuff that we're making this year. I think it's fun. So she's been here filtering and preparing for bottling. And so it's just pretty long process, like all of the things that go into making wine and growing it and everything. It's just a really cool detail-oriented process. And I really think that Ed and Sarah pay attention a lot to detail. So hence the 24-hour shifts, but hopefully you can see it in the product for sure. Do we want to jump in and talk about what we're bottling, or when will the tasting room be open? Let's see. So the tasting room, when will it be open? You want to talk about that?
So the tasting room is open 7 days a week now. We're outside only. So the tasting room technically is not open for tastings, but people can come in and shop the merchandise section, use the bathroom, buy bottles if they need to. But we are doing reservation outside only 7 days a week. Monday through Thursday, we are 12 to 5 o'clock. Friday, we are 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. and music and food truck starts at 6. A lot of times the food truck gets here at 4. And then Saturday and Sunday, we are 10 to 6, with our second Saturdays being every second Saturday from 6 to 8:30.
One of the things, actually, one of the questions, this is not about bottling, but it is about wine. So it's pertinent topic. A lot of our members have been asking when we're going to bring tastings back. And so we are kind of waiting a little bit longer until the majority of everything feels safe to us before we bring them back. They are coming back. Don't worry. But if you're a member, what you should say when you visit is that you would like us to bring you a taste of anything you want to taste on the menu, on the regular featured tasting. It might even be like 8 or 9 wines. Ask for anything. The person that is helping you will bring it to you. And so you don't have to worry about not getting tastings, because as a member, you and all of your guests are welcome to still taste anything on the menu. It's just that it'll be in a little bit of a different format. So it won't be coming out, you won't be coming up to a bar and tasting on the same glass. It'll be separate. But we would love for you to ask for that. Let's see. So the wines that we're bottling, you want to talk about that, or we want to talk about how they're bottled first?
Either way.
So did anyone on this call, you can kind of shake your head yes, has anyone heard the rumor that we're buying our own bottling line? No. So it's been like, okay, so in January, Ed and Sarah came to everybody on the team and they were like, should we buy this bottling line? Like, let's talk it through. And we were all like, oh yeah, definitely. And it just arrived, what, 10 days ago? 12 days ago. So it took about 2 months, maybe 2.5 months to actually get it transported across the country. There were so many logistics involving like bringing a crane to a top of a mountain to get the bottling line, because it's new to us, but it is a used bottling line. Getting a crane and trying to get it on a truck, and then having the truck be big enough to fit everything. And it was the bottling line piece, I think it's the capsular, which you'll see in the video, something similar to what we have, was like 5 inches taller than the tallest truck that we could find. And it was just this big debacle. And you would think, like, once you find this line, you would think it would be pretty easy to just get it here. But in reality, it was actually quite a thing. And I remember on more than one occasion, and maybe if Ed and Sarah are watching, I don't know if you remember this or not. Hopefully you're not watching, because we're nervous about that too. But I remember talking to Ed at length about bottling and why we use a mobile bottler. And for the past 12 years that we've been bottling wine, we've used a mobile bottler. And he said that he would never buy a bottling line. Now, of course, we've purchased one. But the reason he said that is because there are so many moving parts to this thing. I mean, it's a real piece of equipment, from getting that wine to tank safely in the bottle without harming the wine, exposing it to air, getting it labeled, capsuled, corked. There's so many moving parts that if it breaks, you're responsible for fixing it mid-bottle. If you have a bottling truck, it's their problem, right? Like they're insured, like they're handling it. And so I had used that on my tour. Anytime that anyone, I don't know if anyone on this call has gone on a tour with me. It's been a little while, over a year at least, since we've given too many tours. But I used to use that sentence all the time, and now I can't use it anymore. And Ed has been like constantly trying to figure out how to make the bottling line work, because we just received it, and so now we're like, okay, well, we just got this new awesome piece of equipment. We have to make sure it all works. And so we decided to give ourselves a little more time. That's why we hired the mobile bottler. Anyway, so the truck's down there putting wine in the bottle.
Right now they're doing barrel fermented Viognier.
Yeah.
2020. 2019 reds. Yeah. We'll get into that later.
Yeah. We think. I think I saw a couple questions coming, so I just want to make sure that we're not missing anything. Okay. So the wines that we're bottling. So we are bottling a bunch of 2020 whites. Despite the very terrible year 2020 was, we had a good year in the vineyard. And so the wines that we bottled that are coming from 2020 are all whites and the rosé. They are really nice wines. We had a pretty good crop, kind of a moderately sized crop, good harvest, and just really beautiful. The acidity in the white wines that I love about Black Ankle wines is just this, they're just always, the Black Ankle whites anyway, are just bright and like aromatic. And so we made a couple different varieties of wines, and I'm going to say it a little bit more slowly, because I think Cheryl is going to kind of make sure that she can sign through all of these names, and I'll try to say them in the order that I gave them to Cheryl, so it's a little bit easier. But we are doing this year, and if any of you guys hear anything and you want to make sure you get anything, you know how to let us know. You can email anything at blackankle.com. You could make up a name. It could be like pizza at blackankle.com, and it will go to me, because I'm the catch-all for everything at blackankle.com. So send it to pizza at blackankle.com and see what happens.
Anytime one of us is signing up for like a subscription or something and we type our name in wrong, Mel gets the email.
Yeah. For all kinds of things.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through the list of stuff that we're going to put in the bottle. I'll let you know there's a few of these wines that we're not going to be able to get in the bottle during this bottling round, so it'll be a few months, just because they're only here a day and a half. But I'll start with some white. So we're doing another barrel fermented Viognier, so I hope that you guys like that guy. We made 3 different Albariños this year, which is great, because we haven't had, when was the last time we had Albariño in the tasting room?
I had, was it 2 summers ago, or was it last summer?
Last summer. Yeah.
Right when we reopened?
Right when we opened, but I think we mostly sold it to you guys. I think it was mostly to members.
It wasn't around for a long time. It was.
No.
Yeah.
The Albariño goes pretty quick, so it's pretty fun that we made 3 different ones. We did make smaller size lots of each 3, but we made an Albariño Norte, an Albariño Sur, and an Albariño Viejo. And so they're all a little bit different. And I think in future happy hours, I'm sure Ed and Sarah, who are so much more fun than we are, although we're trying to give them a run for their money, they will probably taste through, and it would be fun. Actually, Zoe, this might be fun to do a comparison of the three on a happy hour, so we can talk about the differences. We made 2 Chardonnays. So we made a Chardonnay Reserve and a Chardonnay. Oh, thank you. Is that Skip and Hazel? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for that. They said we were doing great. I appreciate that. We made a Bedlam. So we made a 2020 Bedlam this year. We made only 1 Gruner this year, Gruner Veltliner. And in 2019, I think we made 3 or 4 Gruners. We have our Rosé, which I keep swirling. We have the 2020 Passeggiata, which is already in bottle. That's the second one that we bottled by hand. And that guy we finished, I think Sarah texted me at like 1:30 and was like, we finished the Passeggiata just in time for the truck to arrive to bottle the rest of the wine.
And that one's 1,000 cases?
Yeah, around 1,000 cases, or actually 1,200 cases of Passeggiata, I think.
Which is great.
Which is great. We made a 2019 Leaf Stone, and that I think they're going to bottle first thing tomorrow on the bottling truck, and that is 100% Syrah this year. We did not make a fillet this year, we just made a Leaf Stone. Then after the Leaf Stone, I think we're bottling the 2019 Pinot Noir. That's just 3 barrels. It's just 90 cases of Pinot Noir, and it's really nice. Kind of a medium-bodied Pinot this year. It's a good one.
So we'll do a sign-up list again, kind of like we did last time.
Yeah. If you guys would like some, you can always, you know what to do. Email pizza@blackmango.com. The 2019 Estate, the 2019 Crumbling Rock, Slate 7, which will also be bottled tomorrow. Which Ed and Sarah brought us some samples, and we tasted it recently. Tasted it today, and it tasted great. Especially, it was really interesting. I tasted it before it was filtered and then after it was filtered, and the difference was lovely. It was really a lot more like, it was like it lifted up on your palate a little bit after the filtration process. So we like the filtering here. Feldspar 5, which Zoe and I also tasted today. And then we're going to bottle the Terra Dulce, and then a few Magnums. And then also is it a double Magnum?
Yes. I don't know if you guys saw the email about we have a 2019 Crumbling Rock double Magnum, the mega bottle. I think is what we calling it,
like mega.
When is that going to be bottled? That's
we
next
had to bottle
round.
it by hand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That guy we're going to bottle by hand because we have no idea what we're doing. Well, I'm sure Sarah and Ed do. If Sarah and Ed are watching, I'm sure they know what they're doing. But yeah, so it's a big guy. And we're just bottling a few of those. I think we're bottling 18 of them or something. Zoe would know for sure, but I think we're bottling 18.
I think we've got a couple questions that came through.
Okay.
I saw one about.
All right, let's see. Is part of the reason, can you read that?
Yep. It's part of the reason we wait to release wine due to bottle shock. And can you explain bottle shock?
Definitely. So we always think, I don't know what you think, but we release our wines a little bit too early. And I know Ed and Sarah have said that in the past as well, that because we're 100% estate, we only have so much fruit each year. It just means that stuff is pretty limited. So oftentimes you might have in the past gotten with your wine club shipment, a little note from us that says like, please wait a few weeks to drink this. We just bottled this, please and thank you. And so that is because of bottle shock. And it's really interesting. You'll taste the wines at blending, and then they kind of go quiet over the winter in their barrels, and then they go into the tank and they're put through this filter. And the filter, like, it's tiny and it just literally breaks apart. This is the theory. It's actually like just a theory, but it kind of like goes through the wine. It breaks apart all those molecules, and then they have to join back together. And I think that's one of the things that causes bottle shock. And bottle shock, what I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed something different, but it tends to like mute a wine. So you'll notice a wine is almost indefinitely in bottle shock, at least one of our wines. I can't speak for a lot of other wines, but if you open it up and you put it in your glass and you give it a swirl and you smell nothing, that is a sign of bottle shock. It's muted. It's something like it's missing some palate weight, some flavor, some aroma. It can also seem like it's a little bit disjointed. I mean, I think if I were filtered, I'd be disjointed.
Yeah.
And so that's part of what causes bottle shock. And so they say, you know, you really need to let it sit for a long time, definitely more than 8 days, but we tasted it. We thought it was tasting pretty good.
I would drink this. I would, yeah.
We did taste
I would purchase a bottle.
Passagata.
Yeah.
We did taste Passagata, and we decided that it wasn't ready to sneak to you, because of bottle shock. So even though it was in the bottle and we could actually like unscrew it with the screw cap and pour it, we decided we needed to wait on that guy. So that's the theory behind bottle shock. Red wines oftentimes take a little bit longer to come around than white wines, at least in our experience. And so that's part of why we wait to release. Another reason we wait to release is based on the wine club membership. So if we want to make sure that our members get a certain wine, and your wine club is in May or June or whenever your club is, oftentimes we won't release it until the club shipment, so that you get a bottle, just because the wines are pretty tiny release numbers. Yeah.
So then Steve Tucker asked, guesstimation on when wines like the estate would likely be mature enough to drink or ready to decant.
Right. So I brought some paperwork just in case.
You knew we would need this.
Who asked that, Steve?
Steve Tucker.
Thank you, Steve Tucker. I was hoping somebody would. So I don't know if any of you guys have visited our website recently, but if you click on the Wine Geeks tab, there's a lot of information there. And what we have recently added is a chart, which there's no way you're going to be able to see here. But what it does, and I think Sarah and Ed might have shown this at a previous happy hour, but it tells you when we think things are ready to be released and where they are, if they're ready to drink, but they could be aged, if they're at peak maturity, or if they're mature and it says mature, drink tonight. That must have been your doing, marketing director. And so it tries to help you kind of understand that. With the estate wines, I mean, our first vintage of 2000 estate, Black Ankle Estate, was from 2015. So we have a 15, a 16, a 17. We did not make one in 2018, and then we'll be bottling the 2019 in a couple months. And they can lay down for a really long time. Right now, interestingly, if you were to taste the 15, in just my opinion, if you taste the 15 and the 16 side by side, the 16 tastes like it's ready, like it's tasting great. The 15 is a little more subdued, and I would recommend laying it down for a few years. I'm not the type of person that tends to hold on to a lot of wine. I've got a 2-year-old and a 9-year-old and a farm, and I tend to open wine fairly quickly, as my dad can attest to, because I'm like, hey Dad, drink some of your wine. Oh, I noticed, Dad, by the way, you switched your Magic Castle hat. Anyway, off topic. But anyway, so I tend to not lay wines down super long. So if I'm going to drink something that should be laid down, I oftentimes decant it. And do you use a decanter much?
I do not use a decanter. No. We use them in the tasting room sometimes, but I do not at home.
Yeah.
No, and I'm trying really hard to let my wine sit. Mine it's growing. Used to, I would just drink it right away.
Yeah.
But I'm doing better, but it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah. So first thing I would do if you're trying to decide whether to open a bottle, check out our website and look at the Wine Geeks tab. Second thing I would do would be to send me a text message. Mel, should I open this? Third thing I would do is just open it up and taste it and see if you like how it tastes. You could also use a Coravin system if you have one, but see if you like how it tastes. If you open it up and it tastes a little bit tight, good rule of thumb, decant it. Or another good rule of thumb is pour yourself a little like 2-ounce pour and leave the bottle open while you're cooking dinner, and just let some of that air flow transfer in and out of the bottle, and that will help with just opening the wine up. It's another reason why using the right glass is so important. That's a whole nother Zoom session. Really long one.
Leslie Novotny asked if we could give some feedback on bottling with a cork versus a twist off.
Oh, like the process?
The process.
Yeah. So the cork we know how to do. The screw cap we had to learn how to do this year. And I just shipped back a screw capper. So we bought 2 screw cappers because one of them was faulty, and then we ended up finding a way to get it work by calling an electrician. But it's just a matter of kind of all the things that I've learned about from working with Ed and Sarah is everything is a learning process, and everything is kind of, you have to just jump in and figure it out. And so for the screw capper, we used it while we were bottling wines by hand. So we were bottling the rosé by hand and the passeggiata by hand. And so we purchased a screw capper that I think it was, you took pictures of it. It was three?
It was 3 bottles. 3 or 4?
3 or 4 bottles.
Yeah.
So you're literally like a guy or a girl is taking the bottles and they're putting them up and pressing a button, and then it like screw caps it on, and then it goes up, and then you remove the wines. So it's a very manual process for us. Once we get our bottling line working, I think that we will be able to hook something up that's a little bit more automatic. Which I think we should probably, what time is it? 6. Okay, so at third point we should show you the video.
I think now's a good time.
Now's good.
What do you think?
What do you think, Zoe?
I think it's a great time. All right, so I'm going to share my screen real fast. It'll just take a moment to get everything up and running. Okay. And then I'll remute myself back here. All right.
And it might be a little choppy, guys.
Yeah. Let's see. We tried it earlier and it was a little choppy. It was showing super clear on Zoe's screen, but a little choppy on ours. But you can still see everything. So let's see. So you can see the truck is backed in, like right up on the crush pad of the winery. They've got the garage door open in the back. This is where some of the guys can go in and out. But everything kind of happens inside the truck. So we have all of our bottles here. We purchased them in bulk. You know us, we're super sustainably friendly. So we like to buy everything in bulk so we're not wasting anything. So they're all coming in trays rather than sporadically in case boxes. And this is kind of the back of the truck where you can see some things coming down. So Sarah's here. We decided to cut out the sound because it was really, really loud. You would not have been able to hear Sarah talking at all, but she gave us a little tour of what's happening on the inside of the truck. And the tanks, like Mel said earlier, are inside the winery. So we took a hose connected to the tank, and the hose is actually on the side of the truck that we didn't walk down. But the guys here are taking the bottles off the trays, putting them into the conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt's going to push them through to where the process can get started. And the first thing that you're going to see is nitrogen being blown into the bottles. It's this really cool little like spin thing.
And the nitrogen protects the wine from air, right? Yes.
Right here. So it's really cool to see. And it's just pushing nitrogen into the
bottles. And those
bottle.
are bottles like up in the, oh yeah, cool.
And then they're coming out, and then the wine is being poured into them. Almost to like the top. There's probably about like 2 inches left to be filled. And then once the bottles are full, they come around the conveyor belt to be corked. And so you'll be able to see the cork being pushed into the bottle right there.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, which is really cool to see. Just one little motion. And then it's going to go through to where the capsules are being loaded, and they come in like these little like trays, almost like stacking cups. I had never seen that before. That was really neat. Somehow I missed that in other bottlings that I've been to. And the first machine actually puts the capsule on the bottle, and then it's going to go through to a second machine that actually spins the capsule to tighten it. Sorry guys, a little choppy. There you go. So this is where it's putting the capsule on and then spinning it to tighten it. And then the labels are put on. So there's little label rolls inside here, and the bottles are going through, and it's just perfectly straight onto the bottle. And then it's going to move over to, it's going to go all the way around the other side of the truck to where there's going to be a guy filling case boxes right here, kind of what we saw in the beginning. He's filling case boxes hand by hand. And they're going to go down the conveyor belt to where you're about to see Sarah touch the wine bottles. There we go. This is the fun part. This is the fun part where you want to make sure the bottles don't fall off and we aren't breaking anything. And then the guys are over here taking them out of the cases and stacking them into the trays where they're stored until we're ready to use them.
One of the things that's really different, for those of you that have participated in bottling at other wineries, the fact that we're not using boxes it's really different. I mean, oftentimes if we're giving a tour and other people that work in the wine industry come in and they want to see what we're doing, and they see everything on trays in the case goods storage room. They're like, what is this? You know, and they're called charolas in Spanish. And And it's because we just don't like the idea of buying something in a box to just literally take it and carry it from the case goods storage room to the tasting room and then take the bottles out of the box and then recycle the box. And so we thought, well, we've got a forklift and we have things that you can drive a forklift on down at the tasting room and down in the winery. So it's a little bit more like human labor when it comes to, you know, taking it off of the trays physically, but it really saves a lot of boxes. And so that's what we've been doing since the very beginning. And we've gotten our trays from all over the place, but oftentimes we're having to get them from Spain and South Africa because they just don't use them very much in the US. So I think more and more wineries are starting to use them, but for now, that's something that you'll see if you go on a tour. You'll see huge stacks of wine, almost none of them in boxes. Okay. We've got a million questions.
Yeah, we've got a lot. I've got a couple too.
So Jean asked a little earlier on if we've released the 2017 Black Angle Estate, and no, we have not. It has not yet been released. Jean, you know that I will let you know when we do release it. I think that the release schedule is in November. So I think that the plan is to release it in late October, early November of this year. We had, last time we checked inventory, we had 16 bottles of 2015 estate left and like 22 bottles of 2016, right, Zoe? Estate left. And so we're almost sold out of those guys. We're gonna let the 17 rest a little bit longer in bottle and then we'll release it. Usually around the holidays, most likely. Do you have anything else?
Some of them might repeat.
Sure.
So Skip had asked if our new bottling line will adapt to different types of closures. And then someone else had asked, because it's kind of the same, like in a similar, does the bottling truck compare to how our bottling line is going to be? Is it the same process?
Right. So I think our bottling line, I think, and I don't know a ton about it yet because Ed has been like super in the weeds with it. And I was just involved in randomly helping with transportation stuff. But I think that our bottling line is a little bit slower. So how many, 60 bottles?
60 bottles per minute is what the truck can do.
60 bottles per minute.
Crazy.
It's pretty wild. So you're like, literally you put a tube in it and then like every minute 60 bottles are flying out. A tube of wine and then 60 bottles. So I think ours might be a little bit slower. But I think that we'll have to kind of wait and see. It's a little bit of an older guy, but it's something to start with, at least for us anyway. And then we hope that it adapts. I'm sure Ed and Sarah have thought of that. But I'm sure of it. But I think that you can always buy, like the point of these bottling lines is that you should be able to do a lot of different things. So I don't believe that this guy can bottle sparkling wine. So I think that's something for our new sparkling wine that we will release in a couple years. But I think it should be able to adapt to screw cap and some other stuff.
Joyce just asked how many bottles of wine do we sell per minute on the weekend?
Per minute, 60. No. Oh my gosh, so many bottles. Especially since so many people are wanting to visit outside. We used to find that, and we can talk like for years about the tasting room. I don't know what time it is. 6:10. Okay. But Christina and I happen to know a lot about the tasting room. And for years, you would look at the percentage of people that were visiting, and it would be like 75% members, 25% newbies, and now it's, I don't know, maybe 60% non-members that are visiting. It's first timers. It's a lot of people that have been meaning to come out and just never made it, and now they find themselves having a little bit more time because they're working from home, and so they can drive and visit us. And because we're open 7 days a week, and we're open 7 days a week specifically for people that just don't want to be around crowds. And so we don't have a lot of traffic Monday through Thursday. So if you ever want the 2008, 2009 Black Angle experience, come out on a Wednesday.
And Friday days have been pretty quiet. And
I think the Wilkinsons are on, and you guys come out a lot on the weekdays.
So, and just as we were going through the video too, I forgot to mention all of our guys have been vaccinated as well. We got the whole crew to help out with that. We drove them to get their vaccine shots. So they've all had their second. Screw caps versus corks. Mel kind of touched on that a little bit. What's better for aging? Corks definitely better for aging. Screw caps are easier on something that you're going to open kind of right away.
Screw caps actually, at first they got a bad rap because they allowed too much air transfer. Now screw caps have evolved to the point where there's almost zero air transfer. So you're really not going to get the same type of aging that you would get from that airflow that naturally flows through the cork. And we use the Diane corks for all of our other wines, which are all still cork. They're just kind of broken up and re-put together into cork. They're actually the most expensive cork closures, but they seem to work the best.
And that's not the sugarcane ones, right?
No,
Okay.
we have not used the sugarcane ones anymore. So we can guarantee that the GM or Diam corks and the screw caps will be much easier to open than the sugarcane corks. For those of you at home that had a hard time getting your, yeah, I know. Thank you for clapping. Those of you at home that had a really hard time getting your corks open, you can imagine us in the tasting room trying to get the corks out of the bottle. So, we're working on that. Yep. Let's see. Oh, somebody's doing a leaf stone vertical. That's amazing. Can I come over? Can we come over? And I'll bring my dad. Can I bring my dad? Let's see. Joyce mentioned that you like the reservation system. That's awesome.
Great.
So we're going to keep it. So we could talk forever again about the tasting room, but we are definitely going to keep the reservation system in place. I can't explain how many members have come out and said that I hadn't seen in years. And like, I mean, I've been here a long time, so I tend to recognize faces, even if and names, honestly. But I hadn't seen people in like 4 or 5 years, and I knew they were still members, but I hadn't seen them because they would come out and they didn't think they could get a table. And now that you can get a table, and you can communicate with us about any of your preferences in advance, you don't want to sit by dogs, or you want to be far away from people, or whatever it is, and we can work it all out in advance for you, which is really nice. You should also know if I think that I'm sure Sarah has mentioned it before, but all of our wine club members have account contact people that can help you get reservations if you don't see it online. Additionally, you can email pizza@Black Ankle. It's going to be a joke. No one's going to understand it at all, except everybody on this call. There's 75 people on this. But if you email pizza, then I'm going to help you, and I'm going to make sure that we can get your reservation. So don't let seeing that we're fully booked too much deter you, unless you're coming out for Mother's Day, because we are at capacity and it's going to rain, unfortunately. You should have gotten an email today about second Saturday. We have plenty of space to get anyone in that wants to come for second Saturday evening, and we will get you in. So you just need to email us and let us know for sure.
Catherine Jordan.
Yeah. I can't read it.
How many pizza emails is Melissa gonna get this week?
I know, so many. Well, I'll know that you guys are on the happy hour, which makes you VIPs for sure, because we were like, no one's gonna show up because Ed and Sarah aren't on this week. So we're happy that you guys showed up for sure. I had on my list to talk a little bit about some library wines. So if you've been following the members Facebook page recently, you may have seen some conversation about the fact that we're really low on red wines, and that's true. So right now, if you were to visit the tasting room, really we've got 2017 Syrah, and then we have Slate 6. And those wines are kind of the red wines that you're used to trying and enjoying. We are sneaking out this weekend and next weekend and the weekend after that some other wines from the library, as long as supplies last. But we've got some old leaf stones that we're going to sneak out. You'll be able to do a little Feldspar mini vertical if you want, with the Feldspar 2, Feldspar 3. So if you like those guys, speak in the tasting room or email us. We're going to have M. So we have got a little bit of 2017 M that Zoe snuck out of the library, and then Slate 3, which is really nice. And so the Slate 3 is tasting great. You will probably see it in an upcoming wine club shipment. So we had a little bit of Slate 3 that we were holding in the library for reasons like when we're low on wine, and we want to make sure our members are still getting the good stuff. And so we are going to pull out some Slate 3 that we had saved a pallet of just for this reason. Yeah. Good job, Ronnie. Thank you. And I love it. And the Slate 3 tasting really good right now too. So I don't know if Lori and Gary are on, because I can't see everyone, but I know Bill and Debbie recently did a Slate vertical, and I can see Bill and Debbie are on. They did a Slate vertical, and so I hope the Slate 3 was tasting great.
Skip, yes, 2017 M.
We have available. A little bit, yeah. Yeah, yep, we've got some. Yep, give us a little sign. Let us know. Yeah, so what other, so should I shouldn't cover logistics yet. Do we have any other
Zoe said we're good to move on to logistics.
Oh, Zoe said. Okay, so Zoe really makes this easy. I'm realizing now, like when I'm enjoying the happy hours from home, usually, like it just seems so seamless. And Ed and Sarah, and I'm realizing it's because Zoe is like secretly texting and typing them like everything that we need to be doing. And I had no idea that it was happening. So next time you see Zoe, give her like an air high five for sure. I'm sure she'll probably take wine too. If you wanted to give her wine. Okay, questions and logistics. So here's something else. Yay, Zoe. I know. Okay, so we should talk a little bit about our mask policy, just so that everyone's still aware with the governor's new announcements. We're still kind of sticking by our same plan. So we have the policy that you're still going to wear your mask if you're up from your table and if you're up and walking around and indoors, at least for now. Do you want to talk about our fun-filled weekend? Because you've been
Sure.
marketing it.
Somebody just asked if M stood for Melissa.
I think so. My dad thinks so.
I'm just going to jump in real fast. Mark Paul said one of us should be knitting during this.
Oh, no.
My gosh.
I bought knitting stuff once and I never touched it.
Sarah taught me how to knit on one of the cruises, and I knitted like a string. It was like I made like one strip, and then Debbie, I don't know if Debbie's on the call. I see Bill there, but Debbie literally sat by the pool on one of the trips that we took, and she like walked me through it because I was afraid at the time, and this was like 6 years ago or something. So I was like super afraid to be like, Sarah, I have no idea how to do this. Can you show me again? And Debbie, who was very kind, was like, here, let me show you how to do this. And I still have that strip. It hasn't gotten any bigger, but Debbie, next time you come, let me know and you can train me again, because Sarah gave me knitting needles.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I had something sitting there for years that I was supposed to knit and I never did.
It is true though. Sarah and Ed, like if you guys notice when they're on the happy hour, and I've talked with Mark, Paul, and Kurt about this a little bit, but when Ed kind of talks and he's like talking and he gets all excited, he keeps going, Sarah knits faster.
Really?
Yeah. So like you can actually like time it. You'll see Sarah knitting faster and faster. So I just thought that was fun. Yeah.
Okay, into music and stuff going on this weekend. So Friday we have music starting at 6 o'clock. I think we said earlier the food truck often comes at 4 o'clock. We have Trippy Tacos at 4 o'clock, and then Corey Jenkins is playing at 6. And we do still have reservations open. We think it might rain. We're hoping not, but there are still lots of reservations open for Friday. Friday, yeah. Saturday day we're pretty booked, like all the way booked. Saturday day, but for second Saturday we still have quite a few tables open. We have Alicia O'Malley playing at 6 o'clock, and Blues Pizza will be here from 4 to 8:30. If you need help setting up a reservation for second Saturday, just email pizza@blackankle.com or Karen@blackankle.com, or the email that we sent out a couple hours ago has the link that will send you to the reservation system. And then on Sunday, again, completely booked, but we have Tara Hoffman playing from 1 to 4, and the Peruvian truck is going to be here from 12 to 4. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a super busy, fun, exciting weekend.
And we're all going to be here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be here. Christina, Zoe, Stephanie, Amanda, every single staff member that would come, that we begged to come, will be here. But we're fully staffed up too, so you should expect a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have the cruise email also went out this past week. 13 days, starting in Rome, ending in London from May 24th to June 5th. Going through France, Spain, Portugal. If you have any questions about that, feel free to email any of us or Michelle. She's the one kind of heading up all of the cruises in the past, so you guys might be familiar with her. But let us know if you have any questions at all about that.
And that was so in we had a cruise scheduled in 2020, and so we had to cancel it. It was, I think, in May of 2020, and so we had a lot of these people that had signed up for the cruise that had credit, and we needed to book something this year, and we thought it felt safe by May of 2022. So it'll be May of 2022 that the cruise is going. We only currently have, I think, veranda staterooms left. But just email anyone or email Michelle. It's on the email that I think went out today, you said, or yesterday, or will go out.
Yesterday. Which email?
It's so great having Christina manage all this because I have no idea.
2 days ago?
Yeah.
And I think a couple people who are on the call are going on the cruise. Lynn and Bill. Is there anyone else who's going? I think I saw a couple chats about it earlier. Oh, Debbie and Bill. Awesome. I think Caitlin.
Oh, good.
Caitlin is debating on going.
The heart
Caitlin
of
used
it.
to work here.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I really want to go because it's so cool. It starts in Portugal, right? It starts in Rome, but it ends in London. And you're going and you go through Portugal and you go through all kinds of like the Mediterranean. That's right, though. And so yeah. So anyway, if you'd like to go, I think hopefully it'll be safe by 2022. Oh, so one thing that we should mention are our cheese and charcuterie boxes. I don't know if when you're making a reservation, if you guys have noticed that we have this option where we're putting together an assortment of different cheeses and everything, and it comes in a box. And then the idea is when you sit down at your table, you open the box and all of it kind of spills out and spreads out. It's beautiful and it stays out in the box, but it's big enough for 4 people. So if you get that box, open it up because it's just so much more impressive that way. And you should order it in advance. The reason is it just gives us a little bit more time to make sure you don't pay for it in advance or anything, but you just let us know in advance that you want one, and we'll make sure that it's ready for you, of course. Vineyard update, things are looking great. I have some fun thing that we started this year where we put a GoPro out in the vineyard and we're taking pictures every day. And so we'll be able to have at the end of the year, we'll have a video of a day in the life of a single vine. And we think that'll be pretty cool. We've got the vineyard staff or the tasting room staff out there taking pictures with it every day. And so if you're by the Cabernet Sauvignon by the vineyard, you'll see the GoPro. And I highly encourage selfies. I think it would be so funny if we got a couple of you guys like doing a selfie on the GoPro in our video. So please feel free. Just try not to move it out of the, box station thing it's in, but do a selfie.
So we're kind of set up in between the 2 buildings. In that little walkway, so where the vines kind of start and in between the 2 buildings. I think Mark, Paul, and Kurt were here where we were setting it up. But you'll be able to see it. It's on like a first row.
Yeah. But the vineyard looks good. We didn't get frost here. I know that there were some worries about frost warnings. We did have our frost drains going. Those are those big green things that you see out in kind of the dip. If you're looking out towards the barn, there's the green frost drains. And we did have them going, but I don't think we needed them. We did get some frost at Live Edge. And so that impacted us a little bit, which is interesting, the difference in location and just kind of terrain. At Black Ankle, you'll notice that we plant up high, like on the hills, and not in the low spots because all that cold air flows down. And so in those low areas, that's where you're going to get the frost. So when we do get frost, and like knock on wood, I don't think well, I'm not even going to say that we're not going to get frost anyway. Yeah. But so in the low areas, you'll see there will be some of the buds are frosted when we do get frost, but we have been lucky so far, which is awesome.
And someone asked earlier if the storm the other night affected us, but I didn't even see anything windblown when I came to work.
We didn't. There were tornado warnings all over Mount Airy, but we did not have any impact. Our shade sails are all still up, positive wind. And we did not see any damage to the vines, which is great. Next month's happy hour is on here. It is June 3rd at 5:30. Sarah promised it would be her and not us.
Although I think we should do this again.
Oh, it was fun. So Sarah and Ed go up to New York every year for vacation for a little bit, and oftentimes they'll take a little hiatus, but maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll like see if the rest, like Zoe, can join us. But it is June 3rd at 5:30, and the topic will be Old World versus New World. So I'm so sorry if any of you joined because you wanted to hear that topic, but we wanted to try the rosé. Let's see. Are there any other things that we need to cover?
Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. We're kind of having fun out here. It's actually a really nice office. And it's been really this whole, everything with the pandemic and everything, I at least have felt so lucky to work outside and work in a farm and work with such a great group of people that could adapt, and it's been pretty cool. You're going to see actually one other bit of information. You're going to see a post on the member page probably tomorrow or the next day about a fundraiser that we're going to do. Our vineyard crew.
We just texted.
Oh,
do you want to talk about the fundraiser?
Oh, I do. And so we have this great group of vineyard crew. They're from Tlaxcala, Mexico. They come back. It's kind of the same crew every year. And so we've got 14 guys here this year, and they came to us with an idea, and they came to Ed and Sarah first and said, we love our hometown. We're just noticing that some of the crime a little bit is increasing in their hometown, and they want to build for the youth of their hometown. They want to build a sports park, like a soccer field and like a park area where that people can kind of come together in their community and do something awesome. And all of our crew is from this town. And Avincio, who lives here full time, he's our vineyard manager. He is somehow connected to everyone who comes. And it's one of the reasons why our wine is so good. It's because these guys, they know each vine and everything better than we do. And so we want to find a way to help them build the sports park. So we want to figure out, like, do we need to start a nonprofit to do this? How are we going to do it? The logistics of that. And so you might see a post about anyone who happens to be an attorney or has any details on kind of the best way to do this. We would love for you to email pizza and just let us know if there's anything that you know of that that we can do. And then eventually we will start a fundraiser, and of course you'll know about that, whether it's just collecting donations in the tasting room or anything, to try to get the sports park built for our crew. I think we can do it, and I think it'd be fun, and I think it'd be a really good way for at least for us to give back to this town that has given us so much. So for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, well, I really appreciate hanging out with you guys tonight, and I'm glad that we got to do this.
Yeah, it was really fun. I was very nervous, but and then once we started talking, I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like reciting what I was going to say, and then none of it got said. Awesome. Well, we really hope to see you guys super soon. We are here often and all the time, trying to kind of grow and make the experience better. So we hope that everyone had a good time tonight, and we hope to see you all very soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much. And I hope to pour you some rosé this weekend.
Yeah. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yeah. And dog moms and cat moms and bird moms and yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys for everything. I hope you have a nice night.
Thank you guys.
Yep.